By building and deploying take-profit algos, a user can easily define strategic scale-out levels which operate as dynamically as the execution algos, eliminating the need to expressly state a specific number of contracts to trade at various profit levels. This means that a trade with 10 contracts can scale out with the same logic as a trade with 4 contracts. The user never needs to manually define a trade size, allowing them to focus on compounding their account instead. Take-profit algos automatically produce exit orders at user-defined multiples of initial risk to reward price levels. The orders can then be modified manually to relocate them to more precise targets if desired. Let's build a sample take-profit algo. From the Algos editor, I'm going to select profit and the plus sign. We want to start by naming the profit algo. In this case, I'll create a test scalping algo. Once I've named it, I'm going to begin adding steps. To add a step, click the plus button. Each step can be named individually and should use a common naming convention. I use a combination of the scale out ratio and the take profit percent. I'll begin with a 2-to-1 scale out ratio and 25%. The boxes below indicate the ratio value, which I'll change to 2 and 25, and I can decide whether to use a common limit order or a market if touched order. I'll click Save and create another step. For this step, I'm going to select 3-to-1 for the ratio and 100% for the take profit. That means I can leave the ratio at 3-to-1, but I want to change the take profit value to 100%. What I'm stating is that at a 3-to-1 return from my initial risk, I'm going to take off 100% of the contracts that are left. After saving, I can see the steps within my algo listed by ratio. This means that regardless of the size of my position, when we reach 2 times the amount of my initial stop from the entry in a positive manner, 25% of my position is going to come off. At a 3-to-1 level, regardless of how much is left, 100% of my position will be closed. This eliminates the need to define specific size values for how much to take off at each take profit level. Let's save this and test it. To test the algo, we want to make sure that we have it selected in the drop-down for take profit. We're going to execute a trade at the value high price, just trying to get something filled so that we can test the take profit algo. As you can see on the fill, we immediately have our execution algo place the stop order as well as the profit order out in front, currently up at 5160. Let's test the math and make sure that it did it properly. We executed 11 contracts on the trade, and our first target should be for 25%. Well, 25% of 11 is slightly over 2.5, but not quite 3. Algos is going to round down the order to make sure that it fits within the set percentage. So our first take profit of 2 contracts is set at 5160. The initial risk from 5142 to 5133 is 9 ticks. Now, as our first take profit was set at 2-to-1, that means that it should be out 18 ticks from the entry. So 5142 plus 18 is 5160. Now, if this trade were to take and start moving up and fill at 5160, our second order would come in for 9 contracts, and that would be another 9 ticks out. So from 60, that puts the next take profit at 5169. That order will be sent once the first take profit is filled. Take profit algos are meant to go out as guidance to make sure that you're always targeting an area to provide you with a multiple of return on risk to reward. If for any reason you're not happy with the take profit level, you can always adjust it by simply clicking it and dragging it to a new location. That means the take profit algos are automated, but can also be intervened if needed. We've tested along with the take profit. Let's also test a short position. I'm going to try to execute a trade from the volume weighted average price this time, short. We've sent the initial order out for 20 contracts. I can see the first take profit is 25%. The initial drawdown is 5 ticks, meaning that the initial take profit of 2 to 1 should be 10 ticks. So from 37 down to 27 would be 10 ticks. If I'd like to make any changes to the take profit order, I simply drag it and reposition it. Note that the take profit and stop orders are listed as suspended, meaning that until this order is filled, these orders are not actually on the chart. So you don't need to worry about a stop being filled before your entry order or a target being filled before your entry order. The entry order has now been filled, and you can see that the suspended orders are now working, meaning that the stop and the initial take profit are both active. Let's see if we can get the first take profit filled so that we can see the second take profit populate. Our first take profit was filled at the level that I moved it to, but if you remember, it was originally at 51.27. Now the additional orders have gone out to 51.22, which would be 3 to 1 of the original drawdown level. So that means that from 27, it's another 5 ticks out, 51.22. Now once again, that order can be manipulated and moved if you would rather have it in another location. So for example,